Hi folks, let's talk for a minute about your week 2 A2 assignment. This is Suki Woodward. First of all, you're going to take a little bit of what you learned in week 1, which is to help you understand the awareness of the edges of the frame, the background, foreground, and also the rule of thirds. So you're going to shoot a landmark 2 times of the day, and a landmark can be many things depending upon your community, preferably some kind of a structure. It might include a memorial, a monument, historical building, architectural design, famous restaurant, barn, excuse me, something like that. Don't really get worried that you don't have an important enough structure. You're working on your photographs, not creating a documentary for the community. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking at least 30 or more shots. I'd probably take about 50 if I was you. And you're going to expose it 2 different times of the day. And you're going to be actually getting off of manual, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So you want to be sure that part 1 has at least 30 photos on it with your exposure information, and part 2 is 3 large ones that are the size of a full page with the exposure information on them as well. So, sorry, I have allergies like crazy today. So what might that look like? Not my calendar. Here we go. These are 2, just quickly pulled up 2 examples. It's not necessarily like they're the only ones, but they are somewhat of an example here in terms of like what you need to be doing. So this one is a contact sheet in the beginning of varied things that they took. Walking around, getting closer, getting further away, probably in the middle of the day. Looks pretty, the sky looks pretty bright. Notice this exposure information is underneath. And then these are sort of later, looks more like coming sunset, a little bit of the late lights. And then getting closer and walking around. Some kind of a little windmill sculpture, I guess, right down in the middle of town. I think it's in El Paso. And then they kind of played around with maybe the shapes and the colors, and that's great. But if you get up close, you'll also see that the exposure information, their name is there, their exposure information, their ISO, their shutter speed, the f-stop, and then EV tells me what type of exposure bias is there. All right? So another one might be, this one was more a building, and these were his final ones. There's kind of a shot of, don't just do signs. They actually need to have something in them if you're going to do lettering. You are a photographer after all. Here was sort of a close-up of this sculpture. You'll notice the exposure information's over on the left, and then here was one obviously at sunset a little further back. And he took a whole bunch of really ones that I liked as equally as well of the building and getting sort of on the ground, like here, and looking up. And did a good job. These 2 maybe down here at the bottom should have been deleted because they were a little bit too dark. So you want to be sure that you post your project as a PDF. You see right up here, it's a PDF, and that you have those 2 things combined together. And the reality is, if you go like this, you open the first one, and then you click on it, and then you come up here, you can say combine files into a single PDF. So that's how you can make them all one thing for me. All right? So thank you so much. And then you drop and drag them there. All right, so good luck. Email me if you have questions.